Kenyans join the rest of the world in celebrating the Social Security Day today, the 14th of August 2020. But how many Kenyans are saving towards their retirement? What are the barriers? Is it poverty, unemployment, or lack of information? That is the discussion I want us to have here on KTN News this morning as we celebrate the Social Security Day. And let me just introduce our panelists this morning. Let me give you the profile. So we begin with James Ratemo, who is the Senior Corporate Communication Officer at Retirement Benefits Authority. Previously, Ratemo was a journalist and communication consultant. Our next guest is Mr. Hosea Kili. Kili is the Group Managing Director and a CEO of CPF Financial Services Limited, an advocate of the High Court. He is also a non-executive director at the National Securities Exchange, that is NSE. Our next guest is Mr. Stephen Obiro, who is the head of the Division of Advocacy, Communication and Partnerships at Federation of Kenya Employers. Previously, he was the Strategy and Policy Officer at the Capital Markets Authority. And finally, our guest is the next guest is Dr. Christopher Kisa. He's the Public Relations and Communications Manager of the Nssf. Dr. Kisa is a communication professional and was previously also a journalist and lecturer. All right, those are the men who will be taking us through this discussion here on a KTN News Center. My name is Brenda Zederadido. Welcome. So now let's begin our conversation with Mr. Christopher, who is from the Nssf. Let's begin first with talking to us about the Social Security savings. What is it all about? And as we try to still have Dr. Christopher to give us a response on that, let's begin with James Ratemo. And James, thank you so much for joining us here. So let's talk about Social Security. What is Social Security as we speak?
Thank you, Brenda, for inviting us to the show. And I think basically when we talk about Social Security, it's any kind of measures that or activities designed to ensure that members of society meet their basic needs and they are protected from any contingencies to enable them maintain a standard of living consistent with social norms. And so anything that can come in between any member of society earning basic needs or earning a living, then it means the social security system in that particular instance is not working. So when today we are celebrating to ensure that people, whether it's because of economic downturn, whether it's death or there's unemployment, can this member of society still maintain a particular living standard so that they can, earn basic needs, housing, food, and shelter? If we cannot achieve that, then it will be useless to speak about social security. And today I think we are going to celebrate the achievement, the success stories, especially as a country. What are we doing? How many members are saving towards their retirement, for instance? Because when people retire, that's when, regular income stops. And if your regular income stops, it doesn't mean that you stop eating, you stop paying rent or living, or maybe you stop, having medical needs. And you see, when people get older, that's when even they need to access medical services or health services more. But you see, you have to plan for this either as an individual or as a government. We have to plan to ensure that when these people are at their most vulnerable period, then they can still be safeguarded to ensure that they earn a living.
Let me bring in Mr. Kili. And Mr. Kili, Hosea brings in a very Actually, Mr. Ratemo brings in a very crucial information, that is a contribution, so that when you're retiring, you know you have a fallback plan. But what are the barriers that is preventing Kenyans from contributing towards their retirement?
Thank you very much, Brenda, and thank you very much, the other panelist. The challenges which militate against preparation for good retirement are actually many. But the first one, of course, is lack of information. Kenyans are not well informed about the preparations they need to have for their future. The second one is that there is a sort of a lack of governmental intervention to ensure that just like employers who organize their pension for their workers and ensure their contribution is actually remitted, the government needs to actually to organize the citizens to also prepare in the same manner and assist them to actually save this contribution.
So, Mr. Obiro.
Now, the other challenge is, the pension is not a top of mind or social security not a top of mind item in the normal ordinary citizen. The other items of survival, there may be food, medicine, schooling, are higher up in the hierarchy. And as a result, social security and pension is given the lowest priority by the citizens.
All right. So, Mr. Ratemo, when am I eligible, to contribute towards my retirement?
Thank you, Brenda. Even before maybe I respond to that, I wanted to add that the period we are living in now, the COVID-19 pandemic period, is very interesting, and we have seen so many people, losing employment. Others have either been, given unpaid leave, or others simply their businesses have been, have been wrecked and they cannot earn any form of living. The question then you ask, do they have a fallback plan? And now that brings in your question, when are you supposed to start saving for retirement? The simple answer to that is immediately you start earning an income. You need to start planning for your retirement. Put something small aside every month or every period when you earn an income. If you are self-employed, for instance, you can join an individual pension plan, and as the Retirement Benefits Authority, we have registered 36 of them. You can join any, even if you are not formally employed. So saving for retirement is for anyone earning an income. It doesn't mean you don't have to be employed formally so that your employer can enroll you into a pension scheme whereby they contribute and you contribute towards your pension kitty. No, if you are earning, even if you are selling mboga, even if you are selling water or you have a kiosk and you are able to save even 20 bob per day, per week, or 100 shillings per month, it doesn't matter. The longer you save, even if it's a little bit, bit by bit, it keeps on growing because that amount is being invested. And the pension law in Kenya allows that any money that comes to a pension scheme, is exempted from some tax, and the investment also is exempted. It means that money then it grows faster. So anybody who is earning an income can join a pension scheme. So if you start working maybe at 20 years old or 25 or 26, start saving. And that's what we are encouraging every Kenyan, in that bracket of earning an income to start saving for their retirement.
So just before I cross over to Dr. Christopher, is there a capped figure for people within the informal settlement who want to contribute towards their retirement?
No, Brenda. Especially in the informal sector, it is very flexible because it's very difficult to set a cap. Who knows how much you will be earning this week if you are involved in a self-employed kind of venture. If you are selling your stuff or your wares, this week you could be making more. Next week, because maybe there's a lockdown or schools have closed and maybe your business depends on schools running, then the income there varies. So the regime in the informal sector saving for retirement is flexible. However, in the formal sector, for instance, if I can give an example, employees of Standard Media Group, there's a particular percentage, maybe you give 5%, your employer gives 10%. That is the arrangement. But for the informal sector, please don't be worried about how much, what is the cap. You set your cap depending on your ability at that particular time.
All
yes,
right.
Brenda.
All right, thank you for that. Let me bring in now Dr. Christopher, who is the Public Relations and Communication Manager at the Nssf. And Dr. Christopher, what is the mandate of Nssf as Kenyans celebrate this important day?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to, on behalf of our Board of Trustees, to congratulate workers on this day, marking the International Social Security Day. The mandate of Nssf, when it was started in 1965 and started operationalized in 1966, we have been offering Social Security to people in formal employment. But as we've come along, we realize that times are changing, and remember the Constitution 2010 required that everybody has a right to be covered by Social Security. And later in 2013, the Nssf Act Cap 58 was repealed to give us a new Nssf Act 2013, which now has become more proactive, and we have come up with a strategic plan 2019-2022, which now we have a strategy to ensure that everybody is covered by Social Security. And you know very well that we have 18 million workers in this country, and out of these 18 million workers, 80% are in the informal sector. So we sat down in our corporate strategic plan. What do we do to ensure that these people are not forgotten, the 80% who are not covered, who are in the informal sector? So this is why we launched products that are suiting the informal sector. On 15th of November last year, we launched Haba Haba, a product that is targeting the people in the informal sector. And this product is being driven on USSD *303#, which is now enabling the people, mama mbogas, shoe shiners, to register with Nssf. So this way we have tried to ensure that these people who have not been covered are now covered in Social Security. And we are moving on, coming on board. As we bring on the mama mbogas, we ensure that we bring value to them onboarding on Nssf. Because when we were launching the Haba Haba informal sector in Nakuru last year in November, we were with KCB, we were with the NHIF, the county government of Nakuru, to ensure that these people, as they onboard Nssf, they are also able to benefit from these other partners. So in our strategic plan, we have strategic partners, and this enables us to ensure that the people who have onboarded Nssf, this product called Haba Haba is special for these category of people in the informal sector.
Right.
Because the informal sector people, yes.
Now that NSSF has opened its doors to Kenyans from different walks of life, how is eligibility determined?
It is an open, invitation to all people who are in the informal sector, because this product suits them very well. It is a special product for them because anybody contributing consecutively for 5 years will be eligible to accessing their benefits after 5 years. The first group will be eligible in the next 4 years, 4 months. So this type of people, we believe that when they onboard, it is going to be more attractive to them to save with the NSSF because they are going to, unlike the normal NSSF what we've been offering, somebody had to be eligible after attaining the age of 50 years if you're not working, or 60 years on retirement. But this is a special product for the informal sector.
All right, let me bring in Mr. Stephen Obiro from the Employment Federation, the Employers Federation of Kenya, and take us through that contribution process, because not so many people know how much they can contribute and how much their employer needs to top up when it comes to their benefit.
Thank you, Brenda. First, let me start by saying that the contribution process depends on which type of scheme you are in. Now, if we look at the Nssf, and it is a flat contribution where we have the formal employees contributing 200 and the employer matching up to the contribution. Now, the civil service pension scheme is under different arrangement, which the government finances it. And if you look at the other schemes that are employer schemes that are based on the occupation, it depends with how the provisions that are in the schemes. Now, from the discussions we are having, there is something very important that is coming out. That when you talk about contribution schemes, then you're looking at the ability of that individual to be able to contribute. And so it goes back to income. As the Federation of Kenya Employers, we have always maintained that the best way to help the people is to ensure that the households have stable income, they have stable employment. If you give people jobs, then you give them an opportunity and the ability and the capacity even to contribute to their social security schemes, depending on which type of schemes that is there. And that's why it is very important that we look at how is our environment helping the growth of jobs. How is our environment helping the enterprises to be able to grow adequate jobs that have adequate income for these employees and for the citizens, so that then they are able to contribute. Now, if you look at the landscape of our society, you can roughly categorize them into two kinds of people in the population. And if we are talking about not leaving anyone behind, we have the people who have formal employment, and so they have an assured income to be able to make contribution. But we have that other population who are not in formal employment, and that's where the challenge is, because they cannot be able to make contribution that is consistent and that is able to afford them it's the security, the social security that we desire for them. And this is where we need the interventions of government. If you look at the Constitution of Kenya, and that I refer to Article 43, Section 3, it states very clearly that it is a right of every person to have a social security, to be protected. But the state should be able to provide for those that are vulnerable and are not able to cater for themselves. And that's where we need the interventions. Now, it is easier to say that the informal sector a person is going to contribute, but how consistent and how are we going to enforce that? And that is the challenge. So two basic interventions need to be put in place. One, we need policies that help these informal sector enterprises to grow so that they can become formal and afford adequate income and in a structured way that they can be able to contribute to social security. And the rest of the group that is not able, then we need government to do direct contribution, even if it is to Nssf from the exchequer.
All right. So, Mr. Ratemo,
thank you.
Mr. Obiro brings in a very important point in terms of that inconsistency towards contribution. So will that affect an individual's benefit when that person retires? Because at one point you're contributing, at one point you stopped contributing.
Yes, it's indeed very right that if there is inconsistent contributions, it affects the ultimate amount that someone earns when they stop working or when they retire. However, a lot is happening. Currently, the asset base in Kenya from pension sector, we are at 1.2 trillion shillings. So it's huge and it's growing if you compare from where we have come from. It's true that now we are at around 22% coverage, meaning around 78 are not covered, meaning that 78% of working Kenyans who are working are not contributing towards their retirement. And now this is where we need to, come up with mechanisms to ensure we onboard more members. So what are we doing? Yes, my colleague from Nssf has said that around 80% of these members who are not contributing are in the informal sector, and yet they are making, or they are earning an income. They are generating resources, but the pension system in Kenya majorly is, is voluntary. It's not compulsory. Actually, the only statutory scheme is the Nssf, whereby you give a minimum 200 shillings, and your employer tops up with another 200 shillings, that's 400 shillings. It's so meager, it cannot help. We can say around maybe 800,000 Kenyans are the ones who are really contributing something substantial because they are in occupational schemes or individual pension schemes whereby there is some consistency. So what are we doing? We are working with all these schemes. In the Nssf has talked about Haba Haba. I know Zamara, we have CPF, we have Octagon, who have also come up with products that are targeting the informal sector. And what happens is, the way somebody who is selling burger can earn maybe 20 shillings or can save 20 shillings per day, and they want a system or a platform whereby they can contribute this. And then we have some formality or formal system of submitting this income every day or every week. And we have mobile platforms now, and the products we are talking about, they allow one to contribute via mobile.
All right.
And once we achieve this, and there's enough sensitization, and we are working as a sector to ensure that everybody knows that they have opportunities and platforms where they can save, then we can achieve some consistency.
All right.
But there is a danger. Even those people who are in the formal sector, they are also not saving enough. Why? They have been saving, but at a particular point, they access whatever they have saved. The law allows that when maybe, for instance, you stop working, or you shift employment, or maybe you lose your job, you can access up to 100% of your contribution and 50% of your employer.
All right. So
but you find that somebody has moved from one employer to another, and then they keep on, they access. By the time they are retiring now, they find that they have dipped into their the pension jar, and it's so meager, it cannot sustain. Their social security then is at risk at that particular point.
Right.
So let us protect what we have saved so that you can use it when at your most vulnerable point in life.
Right. So
Thank you, Brenda.
Mr. Kili, when I'm protecting what I've saved for when it comes to retirement, in terms of my benefit, how much will I be taxed? Because that is something that Kenyans really want to know.
Yeah, in a pension arrangement, the taxation level is is reduced a little bit than what any ordinary citizen pays for tax. So there's an advantage to joining a registered pension scheme. But I want to say this, Brenda, and I think on this wonderful day of Social Security Day, I think we need to really be more pragmatic about what suggestions we are talking about to deal with this challenge of coverage. I want to challenge us and our employers and our government to be actually more serious with this problem. We now have COVID in our country. People have lost employment, and there is no social security to support them properly. There is no income support in our country. I want to suggest that we, as citizens of Kenya, we submit ourselves that our government, which we have given responsibility of our lives, makes arrangements mandatorily to collect a portion of contributions from each of us as taxpayers. And we should pay the same, an additional contribution to the tax we are giving to the government, and it should be collected through KRA. This is the only sure way I can say every citizen will actually be contributing for pension. If we can pair payment of tax to an element of contribution collection by KRA on behalf of the citizens, and the money sent to their chosen pension schemes. The government should then, in the responsibility of being the one responsible for social security for every citizen, will match the contribution from the taxes which they collect from the citizens. We cannot do it the way we are doing. We will never succeed. We have been trying, and we have never risen above 20% in coverage. We must be serious as Kenyans. We must do what other countries are doing. I want to say that, Brenda, if we had done this many years ago, Kenyans would have had a chance to withdraw a portion of their savings in their pension schemes, even when they lose employment, for sustenance, income support, until COVID is over.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, so at this point, gentlemen, allow us to take a short commercial break. We shall be right back to continue having this conversation, but you can also join us, to have this conversation with us on slido.com. I'll be sharing some of your views, your questions, or your comments to our panelists when we come back after the short commercial break I'm taking right now here on KTN News.
This is KTN News. Are you a corporate organization, school, hospital, SACCO, church, or NGO, and would like to communicate to your clients or customers instantly? Well, Standard Group is offering a fast, effective, and reliable bulk SMS platform for a personalized experience with your clients. To get your business going, simply 1. Go to vas.standardmedia.co.ke. 2. Register and log in. 3. A short code will be assigned for testing. 4. Buy SMSs through M-Pesa. 5. Our call operator will contact you for verification and submission of compliance documents for sender ID details. 6. You will receive a short code to blast messages to your users. For further assistance, please call our hotline number on 0719-012-111 or email us on vas@standardmedia.co.ke. Bulk SMS. Strengthen your business.
For nearly 5 decades now, Daystar has been stirring passions, supporting and shaping career aspirations as it develops transformational servant leaders for Africa and beyond.
The rapid growth of population in developing countries like Kenya is being accompanied by enormous environmental degradation. And Daystar University is helping me as an expert to improve the quality of people and also sustainability of ecosystems.
Book your intake now and be the next. Call us or visit www.daystar.ac.ke for more information.
Je, unatucheki, because we see you staying home, sanitizing, being mindful of others, and we would like to say thank you for doing it with us by your side. So as we fight through this COVID-19 pandemic, KTN News and KTN Home would like to make your time at home worth it through the Cheki KTN Ushinde promo. We're rewarding you with 50 Xiaomi smartphones, 50 Xiaomi Mi Bands, 60 Xiaomi home vouchers, airtime worth 252,000, and internet data worth 252,000. And all you have to do is tune in to KTN News and KTN Home. Send an SMS to 29599 to opt into participating. And keep watching our channels for a chance to answer our trivia questions and stand a chance to be rewarded hourly, daily, weekly, and monthly with KTN. So this way, you get more than just an authoritative news channel or certified entertainment at home. You also get to come out of this with a reward. The Cheki KTN Ushinde promo. Watch, participate, get rewarded.
Tazama Ushinde.
As a country, agriculture plays a vital role in our economy. Undeniably, it's been made possible through strengthened networks from roads to markets, and now, courtesy of Farm Kenya, in partnership with Farmster, we're strengthening the networks between the primary stakeholders, farmers, and buyers of local produce. Thanks to this, we've created an SMS service to help farmers sell their products by listing them for free without the need for smartphones, as well as the Farm Kenya app to help buyers locate produce and purchase from farmers directly. To sign up as a farmer, send a free SMS using the short code 40446 and enjoy the service for free. For buyers looking for local produce, simply download the Farm Kenya app from Google Play Store or Apple Store for free. Because as the times change, so do we. So remember, ukulima sio shamba pekee. Ukulima ni digital. Ukulima ni Farm Kenya platform. Brought to you by Farm Kenya and Farmster, working to secure your growth.
Kuimarisha Kenya ni jukumu la Farm Kenya.
Leather, in partnership with Rotary, has come together to offer support within the low-income communities by donating 10 shillings for every soap you buy towards improving water and sanitation facilities. Join us as we make a difference in our communities.
This is KTN News.
Welcome back to this discussion on social security, saving towards our retirement. And with us in this conversation is Mr. Hosea Akili, James Ratemo, Stephen Obiro, and Dr. Christopher Kisa. And Dr. Kisa, before you took a short commercial break, we were talking about taxing the social security benefits that are being contributed by Kenyans. But my question is, kindly give us a breakdown on whether low-income retiree social security is usually tax-free, while those for higher-income seniors who pay their taxes in terms of Nssf, if it slides on a scale.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brenda. And for the issue of taxation, in terms of what is offered at Nssf, normally the contributions are taxable up to 20,000 shillings. So anybody contributing above 20,000 shillings, the contributions will be taxed. But in terms of them, when they are being paid their benefits are tax-free. That's why it is very important, like Wakili Jose Akili said, it's important for the government to come in with mitigations to help retirees so that their benefits are not taxed. And maybe, Brenda, before I move a little bit out of that, I would like to just explain to our viewers what had been said earlier regarding the inconsistency of contributions by the people in the informal sector. Our strategy at Nssf has been that when we approach different sectors in the informal sector, we have been talking to their opinion leaders first, and we are using the organized group approach. So whenever we speak to these people, first of all, we explain to the leaders what social security is, and then out of this, it is easy for the opinion leaders or leaders of these groups to go down and explain to their members the importance of social security. And in turn, as I said earlier, we are not just coming on board as Nssf, we are coming on board with other partners who are adding value to these people. So their opinion leaders, when they explain to them what the benefit of social security is, they tell them the other added benefits, because some of these benefits are immediate. So the opinion leaders also help us through the organized groups to do compliance so that we can have consistency. And remember, we have also made it easier for them with the USSD *303 hash, working with Safaricom and other partners. One small example that we have had recently is the Boda Boda Safety Association of Kenya. What we went to them with NHIF and told them, okay, fine, for the Boda Boda rider, you can contribute 60 shillings per day. And out of the 60 shillings per day, you will pay, that money will be auto-debited, and 18 shillings goes to your NHIF, and then 25 goes to Nssf, and 10 shillings goes to your welfare at the Boda Boda Safety Association of Kenya. So when we go on board with them with those kind of incentives, and remember, Haba Haba by Nssf is for the informal sector who can access 50% of their contributions after 5 years. So when we go with those kind of approaches and those communication strategies, we are able to reach these people and speak to their hearts, because they will see the importance of social security and the immediate benefits. So we are blending the immediate benefits by coming with the partners like even KCB, offering the last respect insurance. We are coming with the NHIF in some sectors. So when we go to them, we try to incentivize them so that they know the importance of social security and save for their later years.
All right, and another group that may feel left out is persons with disability. Kindly take us through what Nssf calls invalidity benefit.
Yeah, invalidity benefit for Nssf. It is one of the benefits that we offer in the regular social security package to the employed. However, now that we've gone to the informal sector, this type of people are a special group, the informal sector. They are people who normally look at the immediate benefits of what they're getting into. For example, one of our strategies that we are using with the Boda Boda Safety Association of Kenya is that when we land where they're operating from through their organized groups, we have a special package for invalidity, because as in the Haba Haba package, the normal benefit of invalidity for anybody who is contributing and gets maybe in an accident and they can no longer work, they qualify for the invalidity benefit as the regular contribution. But the contributors of in the normal employment or the informal sector. Right. But the informal sector, what you have done is that, for example, yes, Brenda?
Kindly finish up with your statement.
Okay, let me just finish up. So what we have done is that we are going with an approach of CSI, the corporate social investment. When we get into these groups, we ask them their immediate needs. And you know, Boda Boda are very vulnerable in terms of accidents. So what we have done is that we are coming up with the executive shares for them and try to offer as a corporate social responsibility for those ones who are involved in accidents by trying to give them some incentives, come up with the tax shops. In some of these places, we are starting the sheds. So we are looking at it holistically in the sense that they are benefiting from the normal invalidity benefit and also the CSI and the CSR we are doing to these organized groups in the border and other sectors.
All right, so Mr. Obiro, we have to come to the reality and acceptance that not all employers are in a position to also give their part of contribution towards the retirement benefit. So what is the Federation of Kenya's Employers doing to ensure that as long as you are an employed Kenyan, your contribution, what your employer is supposed to be giving, is remitted to Nssf?
Most of the employers do remit whatever their contributions, where they have gotten from the employees and their own contribution to Nssf. There might be a few who have a challenge, and those ones are dealt with as case to case, looking at what is the challenge. Now, as the Federation, we keep on building capacity of our employers on their responsibility in ensuring that they do remittance to the Nssf of all the contributions that are due. We even run an award that we call the Employer of the Year Award, and if you look at one of the categories in that award is looking at how responsible the employers are when it comes to statutory deductions and how are they remitting. These are things that, as we continue to build the capacity of employers to train them, and with our close relationship and partnership with Nssf and trying to deal with issues that are there, there are things that we are by and large overcoming, and you don't get them in a lot of employers. People who have a challenge are those ones who are either not members of the Federation of Kenya Employers, or they are working, operating informally. And those are where we have had a lot of challenges. They are either not members. Those who are members of the Federation, we always have capacity building sessions for them so that then they can be able to comply.
All right, so Mr. Ratemo, let's shift our focus of this discussion to the benefits when it comes to the spousal benefit. Could you kindly provide a full explanation on a spousal benefit for living spouses and for widows, widowers, and divorced people?
All right, thank you, Brenda. And when it comes to beneficiaries, of course, the primary beneficiary is the member in schemes. And if by bad luck we lose a member, then there's a beneficiary form. And they have indicated, in case they are gone, who can inherit or who can take over their benefits. And so the law is very clear. If the member is not there, then you can apply and access the benefits of that member. And the beauty is that, as for the member, they receive, at the point of exiting that scheme, they can either, enroll into an annuity plan whereby they receive a particular amount of money every month. That's what we shall call pension. If somebody is now is living on pension, it means they're earning something every month. But there are other ways you can opt for a drawdown whereby you earn particular lump sums over the period, at least for a minimum of 10 years, you earn lump sums instead of the monthly. But in case you're not there, the way what you've asked is how do they, the money goes to the beneficiaries. If there's a widow or a widower left, and they're in that particular form of beneficiaries, then they can receive those beneficiaries of the member. However, sometimes you may find that things have changed and maybe a member didn't update their beneficiaries form. And you find maybe when they registered, they were not married. But by the time they're exiting, they got married, they had one or two children, but by the time they are dying, they are not updated. But the trustees of schemes are empowered to ensure that they give the monies to the right beneficiaries. So if they can confirm that indeed the member who died had a wife, had children, then they can verify and give those beneficiaries to the rightful owners. So members of schemes should not be worried. The law is very clear. And the trust deed, the regulations, manning or guiding each scheme are very clear on what happens when a member leaves the scheme.
All right, and it's good that we're having an advocate in this discussion, Mr. Kili. So what happens if you're divorced? Are you entitled to the benefits?
Brenda, yes. Divorce separates you from your spouse rights, and this is determined by courts. If the courts have actually given the degree of divorce, the entitlement actually ceases there, unless it is specifically reserved. But for spouses who just pass on, there is an element of continuity of the pension if it is provided in the scheme. And in the scheme, like the one of CPF, we do provide those benefits. We also go further and even insure our members, and therefore, in addition to pension, we also give them a life cover with the widow or widower benefits upon the death of the primary member. And the same goes for if there is a funeral benefit, which we provide in terms of last expense. So these are things which are available in such arrangements, but it depends on scheme to scheme.
All right. So Dr. Kisa, we have to come to the reality. Dr. Kisa, we have to also come to the reality that there are people who are single parents, and should anything happen in case they die, are the children entitled to their benefits?
Thank you, Brenda. For Nssf, it is quite clear in terms of how we pay benefits. One of the best thing about Nssf is that your contributions are your personal savings. Nobody else can access as long as you are alive. However, if a person, for example, is a single parent and they happen, unfortunately, they pass on, the immediate beneficiaries will be the children. If it's on record that they are single parents, the beneficiaries are their children, not child. All the children will benefit from the savings of their late mother or their late father.
All right, and is Nssf, so is the Social Security financially secure? And let me have Stephen Obiro respond to that.
If you look at the Nssf, it is a governance structure that ensures that the funds that are contributed by the members are secure. And in the governance structure, of course, we have the representative of employers who are the contributors to that, and also the representative of workers, that is FKE and COTU. They are there to ensure that whatever is put at Nssf is protected for its members. Of course, there can be unfortunate situations, but the principle is to ensure that it is secure so that when the time comes for retirement and the benefits are needed, then these benefits are there. And that's why you've got that in many times the Federation of Kenya Employers and their workers have always been coming up and insisting on certain principles to ensure that there is that security. The same goes to the others. We believe that other schemes that are approved by the Retirement Benefits Authority, then the regulator does its work to ensure that there is that security in the management of those schemes and ensuring that the funds are available. I think, Brenda, the biggest question that we should also ask ourselves is about, we are looking at the coverage, looking at how are we ensuring all the population is covered, and also the adequacy of the benefits that we have. And so that is a very key component that we should be looking at, and it ties into what I said: how do we empower our people with good income so that then they can be able to access higher benefits? And that goes back to the enterprises. What are we doing to support enterprises in this time of COVID-19 so that the enterprises are able to maintain their jobs and the entrepreneurial activities are able to continue and offer this kind of benefits to the people?
All right. So, Mr. Atemo, should people in their 60s wait to claim benefits? Can they wait until probably they get their highest monthly benefit, or should they consider signing up now, especially for people who have never registered for the Nssf?
All right, Brenda, of course, for Nssf, any employer, it's a requirement that, of course, you must be registered for NHIF and Nssf. And, but that is for the compulsory, section of the scheme. But you see, you can voluntarily join even, or even add voluntary contributions, additional contribution to the 200 that we give. Nobody stops you from maybe, instead of giving 200 every month, you can even give 1,000 or 500 or 600, even if your employer's contribution is matched at 400 shillings. So the additional voluntary contribution is something that schemes or employers can take advantage of. Will help one another, sensitize members. They can do additional contribution, because Nssf alone, to be honest, is not enough. And if you are not a member of Nssf, because somehow you must be, having a stream of income, or either your employer has facilitated you to join Nssf, or you have, on your own volition, you have decided to join. If you are making some income and you are not in any way employed by any employer, or you are not in any occupational scheme, still you can join the other individual pension schemes, Nssf included, and determine how much you want to be contributing. Right. And the beauty is that sometimes it could be a low season for you. Yes, you can go without contributing, but immediately, like now, because of COVID, we know most businesses are down, and people are not earning an income. And most likely, people are using whatever they have been saving. And if this pandemic goes for long and people are not making an income, they will, exhaust whatever they have saved. So immediately, things turn up for you. Join an individual pension scheme if you are not employed, meaning that now you not be a member of an occupational pension scheme. And then when you join any of these individual pension schemes, then you keep on, saving so that you can continue growing. And one thing I wanted to clarify is that if you join a registered pension scheme, at the point of contributing, it is tax-free, it's tax-exempt. At the point of investment, it is tax-exempt. You only now come to pay tax when you are accessing your benefits. And you saw by that time, even the investment income will have grown to a level that even that taxing, tax regime cannot really impact on your savings. Right. So there's a benefit, it's secured in the law, that pension grows faster than any other ordinary savings. So members should take advantage of that. And as I said, remember, we say that sometimes physical security starts with you. Even right. Social security, we cannot wait for government to do everything. Right. We are going to partner, we are reviewing policies, and I'm sure once we combine or join forces, we can ensure that everybody is socially secure.
All right, and Dr. Kisa, I just need to pick up your mind on this before I bring in Mr. Kili. Has Nssf found itself in a situation whereby there are unclaimed benefits? And what have you done when such a situation occurs?
Yeah, thank you very much on that. The issue of unclaimed benefits is one of the things that we have looked at, and we know that it's possible that there are people who might not have come to claim their benefits. However, what we've been doing, the strategy we have, is that we've been sensitizing members or communities through public barazas, through our branches, just to let people know, and we'll be even having some press announcements telling people that if you know anybody who might have worked and contributed to NSSF, to come up and claim. So we have been having that campaign, and remember, what is at NSSF might not necessarily be what you can call unclaimed asset, because at one point these people are going to come. There are some people who have even worked and retired at 60, and they are still contributing because they are actively engaged in employment elsewhere. Maybe just to loop in something small on this, I just want to maybe make a challenge. Like, as much as we are not leaving anybody behind in social security, like today's theme is, we have not lost focus on the formal sector. We are challenging the people in the formal sector. 400 shillings per month. Can that money sustain you when you retire? Can you imagine earning 400 shillings per month in your retirement? Will that be able to sustain you? This is why we also, in some of these public information going out there, we are telling people, as we tell them that if you have not claimed your money, please come. Please also top up. There's voluntary contribution and there's top up as an employee. For example, you, Brenda, as an employee of Standard Group, apart from what the employer is paying for you, you can top up and enhance your contribution so that at your sunset years, you'll be able to have an income, a replaceable income, something close to what you are earning while you are working.
All right,
so I think that is one of the things that we are trying to do. Yes, thank you.
All right, so Mr. Kili, do social benefits last one's lifetime? Because that is a question that many people would want answered, because they're asking, so I'll keep on contributing every month. Will it last me when it comes to my years after employment?
Yes, actually that is the target of the Social Security policies under the ILO Convention. And it's supposed to be embedded in our national pensions policy, that the funds which are saved and invested for citizens and workers should actually be adequate to last their lifetimes. In countries which are developed, over and above what the employer and the employee have saved, the government also gives every citizen a basic social pension. And this is something which I would love if this country of ours can introduce. That would ensure that actually the benefits last their lifetime. In CPF, our members who are pensioners who have benefited from a defined benefit formula actually have their benefits lasting them their lifetime, because the employer's support lasts their lifetime and even the lifetime of their spouses. The defined contributions which have been now started, beginning with our county pension fund and also the public service superannuation fund, the NSSF, all are on the principle of defined contribution, and therefore the issue of adequacy is very challenged, because it depends on how much you save and how long you survive. If you live too long, most likely the money will not last, and therefore it means the contribution rates should actually be calculated well to last your lifetime and, of course, your dependents.
So are you saying
we have that challenge in Kenya?
So, Mr. Kili, are you saying that for you to have a good benefit in terms of after your retirement, it also, your contribution also plays a critical role here?
Absolutely, Brenda. Many of us who are in formal employment, we are always would complain if our rate of contribution would be raised maybe beyond 5%, and we think that we should stay even lower because we want more money for our consumption lifestyle we have now. But that is one of the biggest mistakes because it means that if you don't contribute adequately and you get advice of a professional advisor, the money would not last long. And I want to give a good example. It's unfortunate, but 200 shillings going to Nssf from every worker and 200 shillings from the employer, totaling of 400 shillings a month. If you calculate, Brenda, that kind of money is peanuts because at the end of 30 years of working life, that member would hardly have more than 300,000 Kenya shillings to take home. I want to ask each one of us here, how long will 300,000 shillings last when you are at the age of 60?
All right.
We are actually just pretending to be saving, but we are not saving.
Right, and it's good you're talking about, that age, the age of 60. And Mr. Atemo, so, that people look at Social Security as a critical program for our nation's seniors only.
Pardon, Brenda?
I'm saying the mindset that some people have, especially the young people, they look at the Social Security, sending your money, your little contribution to Nssf as a program for the nation's seniors, the elderly in the society.
Yeah, that is a misconception, but I think largely that one we are clearing because of the education campaign that we have been holding across the years. And it's very clear that when you start saving, when you are about to retire, it means you have to save so much so that you can at least, earn enough investment income for you to, for it to sustain. And for you to determine how much you want to save or when to start, ask yourself, how much do you want to earn when you stop working? For instance, if you have been earning 50,000 shillings, for instance, during your working years, then if you stop working and you start earning 10,000, do you think that will sustain you? Even if, okay, you cut out transport costs, but you remember medical costs will remain, you will need to eat. So ask yourself, how much do you want to earn, or how much is the income you need to sustain a lifestyle you want? So young people should know that when we talk about, Social Security, retiring, immediately you start working, you've started your journey to retirement. If you start working at 20, for instance, then in Kenya you have 40 years. Then after the first year, you remain with 39 years, and then 38. So you have started your journey. And the beauty is, if we understand the concept of compound interest, if you start saving a little when you are younger, meaning you save for more years, then you will even earn more than if you start saving more for a few years. So the earlier the better. So young people, and I am sure by now you know, even this COVID has taught us that even your income can be cut anytime. So don't think that you need to start saving when retirement is beckoning. No, that is a bad misconception, and you may find yourself vulnerable or exposed. So the earlier the better, and of course we have joined hands with all the schemes. As an authority, as a regulator, we are at the forefront to ensure that we educate, especially the young people in the informal sector, so that by the time they start working, already it's ingrained in their system that saving is key. And you either save for emergencies, you save for retirement, you can save for school, you can even save for wedding if you want. So when we talk about Social Security or pension, it's just a small sector, a small portion. It doesn't mean that you put all your money, no.
Right.
But once you put aside your pension, leave it until it's time for you to access. The danger is, as I said earlier, that most members often access before time. And so they keep on, depleting their kitty, their pension kitty. By the time they're retiring, they could have saved maybe 30 million, but they have been accessing, by the time they're retiring, maybe they have 10 million or even less. And then when you You do a calculation of how much will they earn until they die, and you see it doesn't matter. It matters if you retire at 60, you may end up living for another 20 years, 15 or 9 or 30. Depends on the state of health, on how prepared you are. And we've seen most members who are not prepared, even studies have shown, they even avoid retiring. Once they retire from this job, they want to do some other job because they don't have enough. And once they cannot work anymore, then even stress sets in, and most people even die early before their time. So let us start saving as immediately we start earning an income.
All right, and you know, on a light note, people say unachukua kidogo kidogo kwa sababu kona shida, but we are being advised by Mr. Ratemo not to do that. Gentlemen, we are bringing this conversation to an end, but in 30 seconds each, we are talking about accessing the benefits after retirement. It is not an easy process. Let me begin with Mr. Obiro. Mr. Obiro, rather.
Brenda, the important thing is that we should take it as a personal responsibility, that it requires a concerted effort, both from the citizens, the people themselves, the government, and all other stakeholders to ensure that then we can have adequate system that protects our people, both in terms of coverage and in terms of the benefits that are there, and offer a better life when there is need. And this one will have a very big impact even in the economy. And that includes helping the organizations, the enterprises, to give people jobs in Kenya.
All right, Mr. Kili, your closing remarks within 30 seconds.
I want to say that I want to welcome the members of the public to CPF M-Pension, our voluntary micro-pension arrangement, where you have to join through your phone by dialing *289#. And having become a member, you can actually make your contributions through M-Pesa, through Baybill. And also you can be able to convert your Bonga points from Safaricom by dialing *126#. So in CPF, we are fulfilling people's lives, and we convert you from your employer's payroll to our pensioners' payroll within just less than a month. So that's how easy it is to be a member in CPF. Thank you.
Mr. Ratemo, your closing remarks.
Yes, to young people out there, please ensure that you start saving for your retirement, just like you save for your emergencies, for your education, immediately start earning an income. The safeguarding, our motto is safeguarding your retirement benefits, so don't worry about safeguarding your benefits, worry about your collections. And to all members of schemes, or if you have savings anywhere, ensure that you update your beneficiaries form. So by the time you are not here, the people who are supposed to take over your estate or your savings can have easy time. And lastly, please ensure that you save for retirement, because when you retire, it doesn't mean that you stop eating, you stop living, but you need to maintain a lifestyle. Ask yourself, what kind of lifestyle? So at what benefit?
Dr. Kisa, your closing remarks.
Thank you very much, first of all, for this great initiative to educate our fellow Kenyans on social security. Number one, I'd like to urge the people in the formal sector and anybody else to join the Haba Nssf on *303#. That's going to be a platform that's going to help you in terms of saving. The second thing I would like to let our members know is that I also use this platform to appeal to anybody who might have worked in Nssf and has never claimed their benefits to come get in touch with us. Any branch or any of our branches out there, we have 60 branches out there. You can contact us on the social media so that we can help you to claim your money. And lastly, I would like to say that what I best like saying is that umaskini wa uzeeni ni fedheha kubwa sana kwa mwanadamu. For that reason, please think of saving now.
All right. Thank you so much, James Ratemo, a Senior Corporate Communication Officer at Retirement Benefits Authority, Mr. Jose Akili, who is the Group Managing Director and CEO of CPF Financial Services Limited, and also Mr. Steven Biro, the Head of Division of Advocacy, Communication and Partnership at the Federation